Golfers, today I'm going to share with you the easiest way to hit the ball straight with every single club. So it's one concept that works for all clubs that'll help you control the club face, control your path, and obviously if you do those things correctly, if we have the club in the right space and time, you'll also get good contact too. So there's one concept stroke exercise pattern I'll give you to practice will help hit the ball straighter and make you play better. So one of the most critical and crucial areas of the golf swing is how we control our hands in the golf swing. So what I want to do today is talk to you about the 4D hand path. So we're looking at the kind of direction they travel in, the speed they travel in, the angle they travel in, all those things really combined. So if we get the hands working the correct way through that hitting zone, you will control this club face and you'll get the sweet spot lined up with the ball consistently. That is what we're after. That is the premise of today's videos. So what we see with most golfers is when they go through the golf ball, their hands tend to move to the right too much, and they tend to get a lot of hand action, a lot of wrist extension, a lot of club head, what we call throwaway, a lot of flipping. A lot of people are scared to get shaft lean, so they're scared to get their hands more ahead of the ball. So we also want to talk about that concept too, make sure we get that done correctly. But the hand should be traveling obviously inward, upward, and with force and speed. So we want those things to be happening. So they're also going to be rotating. That's kind of the 4 dimensions we want to talk about. So if you imagine I let my hand just float here naturally, that hand is on an inward angle to where this shaft is. That is just swinging on a circle, and exactly the same on the backswing. That creates a circle or an arc in which the hand should travel. The golf swing is not straight, the golf swing is actually on a curved arc, which most of you probably know. But most of you feel, and this is the feedback I get, that we should swing down the target line. Now, ideal world, I'd like the club head to swing down the target line, but I'd like the hands to swing inward and upward. That's important. So other golfers try and feel that the hand should stay very, very low. Well, we want the hands to be kind of low here. This is the low point of our hands. Then the hands are going to travel inward and upward and rotate to square that face up and deliver that club on the correct arc or correct path. The correct path to hit a straight shot is on in to square to in, as opposed to in to out or out to in. Now, the most common shot we would see from most golfers is the over-the-top move and the hand path coming left as we get to around the golf ball, and then normally then it's a reaction and goes out to the right and goes high in the finish, kind of an anti-left kind of feel, and also trying to release that club to try and get that club to stop slicing as much. Granted, you might need to have some compensatory movements to make some of your faults work, but in the ideal world, we want this kind of circle, and we want the hands to be working on a circle. So to give you an idea how that's going to feel, and we can do it both sides of the swing for sure, but if I take my setup here and go square with the target, or square with my target line, you'll see I've got this rod here sat inside and below the handle as we address the golf ball. Now if I just take my position there and swing through the ball, ideal world, I'd want my right thumb just to hit that rod. An ideal world, I'd want to see the club head still in a fairly neutral position and down the target line more so. Obviously, if that club face was rotated more like this, that would be more closed. So what I'm talking about is the club face as it goes through the ball, being at that kind of angle versus that kind of angle, and also, ideally, not like this. So I've even had some comments from somebody this last week that I did a video on having shaft lean, and they said, that is strictly not true. You shouldn't have shaft lean. You shouldn't have your hands ahead of the ball at contact. Well, the science and data shows that the tour pros average about 11 degrees of shaft lean at contact, and I doubt you'll ever find any elite ball striker with their hands not ahead of the ball at contact. That is exactly what we want to do. But in order to stop the ball going to the right or getting heel strikes or shank strikes, we need these hands to work inward. And that is merely just swinging it on a circle. It's not exiting left, it's exiting straight, but on a circle, on an inclined plane that we stand. If we were stood on top of the golf ball, then obviously it wouldn't be exiting round the corner, as I call it. It'd be Xing in a straight line. So we really want to feel that these hands travel from inside the golf ball, on a circle, hit that stick, and then work more upwards then as they get round here. That is the feeling. So how we would train it, ideal world, we can have 2 rods. This is just 1 rod. Let's put another one in here. So we put this one in at a similar angle behind the golf ball, and we could go hands to the rod, hands to the rod. And in order to facilitate that, you have to rotate to get that club to move over there. So it encourages rotation. And lots of golfers will come to me and say, how do I get more open through the ball? How do I get my hips open like I see Rory McIlroy and all these great golfers? Well, this is how. If we have the hand path working in the right way, then it allows us or makes us rotate more through the ball, unless we've got any physical blockers that stop us. So we definitely want to feel our hands are what I would describe as deep to deep. Now, that's not a case of pulling them down. No, we want to basically right bend, hands go out, and then as we kind of get lower to the golf ball, the hands get more into this kind of shape here. But again, we can exaggerate these to make it too much in and in if that's what we need to feed. I use the expression all the time, feed what we need. So if my hands are way too far out, to feel I pull them down is a good feel. If my hands are way too far out, to pull them in is a good feel. If my hands are too far in, we might be saying, okay, can I miss this? But in the ideal world, we want this arc, as we keep talking about. So what I would do, make practice swings, feel we get close to these, and we can adjust them if we need to make it easier or harder. When we're going to hit the ball, personally I would take that one away because we don't want to get jammed behind that. That would obviously then make, the dangerous snap in the rod or sticking into your hand or arm, which we don't want. This one we could bounce your club off and it won't hurt at all. But what I'm going to try and do is try and make sure I shallow my downswing and try and get my shaft and hands over to this rod as best I can. That's the plan. Let's see if we can do it. Let's take our normal aim. So we're going to that ball to target line, as we said. And encourage yourself to get as close as you can to that rod as possible, even if you don't hit it. Rehearsals in between shots, making that contact, and unless we've got it in the exact right spot, you won't hit it. But this, again, is about trying to encourage and trying to alter what your current pattern is. Again, if your current pattern is fantastic, you shouldn't necessarily be thinking about this or doing this. The other elements of the hand path we talked about there, feeling the hands go up, feel like we pull the handle up. So when we're doing these rehearsals, get the club head to go from low to high, extend the body, and obviously rotate. But as I said, the rotation tends to come free when you try and hit this. That's the beauty about this exercise. If we have things in place, like a rod or a constraint, that will make us move in a certain way to encourage our swing to change. So give this a go and improve your hand path, improve the path of the club through the ball, improve how consistently you deliver the middle of that sweet spot to the ball to give you ultimately straight golf shots with any club. Thanks for tuning in today. Thank you for your support. Hope to see you back here real soon.